I think in America we can be so cynical when we think that we're the minority and we sort of lost the game because, you know, if you drive around Philadelphia, there's these big, huge, historic churches that are now empty. And I think your story is just so important to remind us of the transformative power of the gospel. It doesn't matter what we're facing, doesn't matter how lost a culture is, the gospel is greater.
Yes.
And God has the power to just rescue and transform lives. And that power is much greater than all the darkness that we're facing.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you have embraced that power and are working with such courage and activity and busyness. And I also love the emphasis on just the transforming love of the Lord Jesus Christ. If you read Christian Twitter, Christian social media, you think that we had forgotten to love one another because it can be so mean and so angry. And it's not just unbelievers, it's Christians to Christians. And I always think of that passage where Jesus says, by this shall all men know that you're my disciples. By what? Not by your theology, not by all your Christian action, by your love for one another.
Yes.
It's the ultimate mark of the Christian community. And when a person is exposed to Christian community, he ought to experience that as being the most loving, the safest place on earth. And your story reminds us of the power of that. It also reminds me that we can't look at anyone and think they're hopeless. I mean, I hear your story and I think, here's this angry girl in prison. Forget it, it's over. But it's not over.
It's not.
Or here you are, little Muslim star, top of the world, proud boy.
Yeah.
But God's able to break through all of that.
Yeah.
And there are parents right now that are watching this podcast that are ready to give up on their children because they seem so lost and so rebellious. Or there's a wife who's quit praying for her husband because he seems so angry and so lost. And I just want to say, don't give up on the power of the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ to reach someone in ways that you could never imagine and to draw them back to himself. Yes. And your stories are just examples of that we just cannot give up on the power of God to transform lives. I mean, if you would have saw you at 14 and you at 13, no one would say, these two people are going to have the most amazing gospel ministry in this part of the world. You wouldn't have said that. But God knew.
Yeah.
And he's writing every detail of that story.
That's true.
To bring you to himself, to bring you together, and to build in you this huge desire to serve him. And I know right now, in again, the audience of this podcast, there are people who are so broken and so discouraged, who feel like they've tried everything. And nothing has worked. And God's grace is greater. And he has the power to do what logic can't do, and threats can't do, and fear can't do, and anger can't do. And we just can't allow ourselves to give up on the power of God's grace.